Hi! Did your son or daughter turn punk? Catch him in the psychiatric ward. Film at 11. Nice to see you. Ladies and gentlemen, today on Dirtycakes Live at 5, we have the one and only Mr. Greg Hetson from such things as the Circle Jerks and Punk Rock Karaoke, and of course, Red Cross, and so many other things. We're going to have him on here on the show, so I hope you're really enjoying it. Our charity of choice today is Music Cares, actually a thing near and dear to my heart, as well as Greg Hetson. I hope you're having fun today. We're going to talk a lot of good things, and I've got one of my favorite Circle Jerks on in the background right here while we get this thing up and going. This, and we're going to ask him about it, is the golden shower of hits. How you doing, Greg? How you doing, buddy?
You know, living the dream is sitting here on my couch with my dog. Where is he? Where's Squishy? Damn it.
Squishy.
There he is.
Yeah, there we go. How you doing, man? How's the hockey game?
Oh, I guess it's over. Yeah, the Islanders won the game I was watching earlier. I don't know who's on right now, but, you know, I'm doing this. This is more important than hockey right now.
I got you. Well, I'm just saying, I know, for those of you that don't know, Greg and I actually are real friends in real life. And Greg probably do my first LA game. And I think it was a win. I know that you and me and Darren went, and it was a lot of fun.
Right.
Must go back. I think we had plans to go back during this, which obviously might be a little different considering the situation at hand.
Yes.
So how have you been holding up in all of this stuff? I know you've been, you know, you have the studio going. I know you got stuff. How are you personally holding up those things?
You were getting a little garbled, so I put my Wi-Fi on the phone. Hopefully that makes it a little better.
That should take care of it. I was just saying, I know that, man, you're getting so much love here in the chats. Everybody loves you, Greg. I was going to say, how are you holding up in the COVID situation? I know that all things considered, I think you were more or less trying to be on the road with Circle Jerks right now. You guys had like a world domination. I guess.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a big comeback, man, and then, you know, the zombie apocalypse happened and put everything on hold till next year.
Yeah, that's, you know, but I mean, I think you got to do what you got to do. And I'm glad you're healthy, and I know that you've been making, you know, I know that your studio is up and running, and that you're doing okay. So that's good. You've been staying busy doing the things, and I know it's great to see. And I know that we both actually do a fair bit of things in the same area. So it's nice that you've been healthy and happy and all of that in this whole thing. Yeah, so I was saying before, you know, to kick things off here, just about the Kings game. I think one of my favorite things about that was being at the Kings game with you and Darren. Darren Pfeiffer, everybody, also from Punk Rock Karaoke, which I love, by the way, the online stuff you guys do. Singers come on board with it. I might pick up one of those. I think I saw it with first from Turbulent Hearts and LA Machine stuff. But it was absolutely fantastic. Solid thing to everybody thinks that Greg is this great guitar player. He's also a great guy. I told him that I'd never been before, and he insisted on paying for my ticket. I want to say thank you so much for that solid.
Well, you're welcome. You know, you got to share the wealth of the love for hockey. So, yeah, getting back to you were mentioning the punk rock karaoke videos. We're getting ready to do a live event, stream it on the Monsters of Rock cruise on August 23rd at, I think it's 3 p.m. Pacific. So we're gonna have a bunch of, you know, guest singers from different bands. If you want to come and sing one, let me know.
Yeah, I would love to, Greg. Absolutely. Me, I love doing it. It's actually a funny thing. I know that you're a guitar player, right? I know that you're a guy in a band, but I've actually, the first time I ever saw you play guitar in person was when I jumped on stage at Punk Rock Karaoke to sing some Buzzcocks.
Right.
It was probably 6.5, 7 years after, which is, I don't know, man, but I love you guys in the Punk Rock Karaoke. So how do you feel now?
Say that again. You keep cutting out. Damn it.
How are people going to be able to check out the punk rock karaoke thing? So are you actually going to go on the cruise?
No, it's going to be in a studio in North Hollywood, and it'll be streamed on Facebook on the Monsters of Rock Cruise Facebook page, and also I think maybe on their website. And we're going to have clean mics for everybody, so nobody needs to worry about that. People will be brought in one by one. We're going to keep socially distant. Nobody's going to be hanging, unfortunately. No hugs.
I love it. That sounds awesome. I definitely am gonna have to bother you about that, and you know, we'll make sure to enable to find connections for the whole thing, and you know, get our Pilates punks lessons in play, right?
Yes.
Gotta do, yeah. We'll get at least 1 or 2 middle fingers out of the way. Probably not a full 10, but we'll get there. Absolutely.
We're gonna try.
We're gonna try. So you know, I've heard a lot of stories over the years, and one of my favorite things is one of my big things I was really hoping to kind of do with this series is really capitalize on some of the folklore and some of the legends and some of the oral history of rock and roll, right? And it was awesome,
right?
From Hard Rock, you know, last time, and he was just telling all of these things. And there's a few stories that I love of yours that I'd like to get at least your take on the official versions of them. The first one of those being the official origin story of the Circle Jerks, because I've heard 3 or 4 different versions of them over the years. But what is your official version of that?
On how we formed?
What's that? Yeah. On the origin story of the Circle Jerks. Because I've heard stories from the whiskey, I've heard stories from the church, I've heard, depending on who you asked.
Right. Keith thinks he came up to me and said, fuck those guys, let's start our own band, because I was unhappy with Red Cross and I just quit. But I think he said it out in front of the whiskey. So that's where we differ with our, on the origins and actually when it was formed.
Yeah. So, what, now, okay, so I've heard him. One of the things is, I know everybody knows about the whiskey, but about the church, I don't think very many people know about the church, and I only know it because of like old rock docs and stuff. But can you tell everybody what the church was about? Because it is fundamental, I think, in rock and roll.
Yeah, for the growth of the LA punk scene outside of Hollywood, it was an old church that was kind of started by I guess they were hippie types, and they had artist lofts, and they would have, poetry recitals and live music. They had a really nice big stage. And then in the basement, they had rehearsal spots where people practiced and lived. They didn't live there legally, obviously. They were kind of squatting down there. And bands like Black Flag, Descendants, The Last, St. Vitus. I can't remember who. I think St. Vitus, we used to practice there too. Red Cross practiced there. And can't think of who else, but I'm sure there was other bands. Those were the main ones. And we would, and it was just a big party all the time. Everybody was practicing, hanging out. And then occasionally they would throw parties. They were allowed to have a gig inside the church. And that kind of brought the people from Hollywood to the South Bay scene and introduced them to the bands like that we were playing in.
Yeah, I love that. I've heard stories from other punkers about like it'd be like $5 to get into the party and have all the find and stuff like that, and it was all happening in the basement of the church is where all of this stuff happens.
Yeah.
Now, I'm in LA. Where in LA was this church?
It was in Hermosa Beach. It's now a hotel.
Ooh, fancy. Hermosa.
Yeah, they tore it down. Hermosa Beach wasn't as fancy as it was back then, and we would get a lot of shit. We'd go outside to go to the liquor store or whatever, and there'd be the jocks and the surfer types with like "fuck you," "punk is bunk," "faggot," "devo," that kind of stuff.
Right. Man,
chase us down the street.
Yeah, well, punk rock is dangerous, right? Like one of my favorite stories that you tell about the danger of punk rock is like your favorite place is the spray paint, and I think I've heard you talk about like stuff underneath the bridge at LAX, and find neighborhood folks chasing you out of their spots. And what were your favorite places to spray paint?
One of the best spots. Well, we did a couple of good ones. We did the tunnel at LAX. I think Black Flag did it first, so we had to once Keith quit that, we had to kind of try to do that too. We spray painted behind where Johnny Rockets is now in Hollywood. There's like a little alley, and it was a nice wall. And the Sunset Car Wash there on right by Crescent Heights and Sunset Boulevard.
That's a solid one.
And then by kind of next to the Roxy, there was a bank, and there's a parking structure on the top, and we held our bass player by his legs upside down while he spray painted circle jerks on the bank. Because, everybody would see it going to the Whiskey and Roxy.
Sure. It's only, what, a 20, 30-foot drop from there?
Yeah, good clean fun. Nobody got hurt.
I'm trying to think, how big was your bass player at the time? Because were you holding up one leg? I feel like, all things considered, you would be the guy that would be held over to body mass.
No, he was the only one crazy enough to do it. We wouldn't,
gotcha.
So it took the other three of us to hold him. We were little guys. We were a very short band. He was pretty tall. Whatever, everybody's taller than me, so everybody seems tall. So, it was good. It was pretty nutty.
So you guys are a pretty short band. I've heard that you guys are like, because we were just talking with Jeff Nolan last time, and he was talking about, now he's like 6'1" or 6'2", and when he joined Screaming Trees, he was the shortest guy in the band. Because what had might be a ton of band in the 3 guys. And then, like, when Josh Homme joined Screaming Trees, he was still, like, the short guy because he's 6'3". Keith and, well, none of you are 6 foot.
I think Roger, our original bass player, was close to 6 feet, but I think I was the second tallest band member.
Wow.
Which is pretty hilarious.
So it's small but mighty. Small but mighty.
Yeah, clocking in at 5'6", and it was probably,
Hey, look, man, you guys got it done. That's what's important, And I guess, like, when you're getting your suits made and all of that other stuff, it's less material. I think it was funny. I just had on the top of my head when Ali was talking to you about the cover of Wonderful, where you have the tux on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you say you still had that?
Yeah, I still have it.
That's incredible. That was what, like 25?
1985. I think it's in my closet. Let's see if I can find it.
Let's see if you can find this thing. I love it. For those.
I can find it. I thought I saw part of it in my closet. Here's the pants.
Oh my God.
And let's see here. No, that's not them. Those are Dickie shorts. Damn it. Similar material, I guess. Let's see. Those are Dickie shorts. What did I do with it? Damn, I hope I didn't lead you on here. No, it's too dark in my room. Hold on. Here they are.
Here we go.
Here they are.
All right.
Those are the actual, and the size in here is some. Oh no, those aren't them. Damn it! Where are they? Whatever. They're here somewhere.
I believe you.
Yeah, maybe I put it in my. I might have actually put it away in a drawer somewhere, but I still have it and the jacket. See, now I'm like, where is it? I'm gonna OCD over it. It's here somewhere. Anyway, yeah. Somehow I held on to that.
It's bizarre, the things that you hold on from over the years, because it's like all the record covers, all the album art, all the shows, all the things. It depends on like what's actually important, what makes it from closet to closet, and cardboard box. You know what I mean?
Move to move,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of the things that has made it
records.
from Move to Move to Move and Everywhere is your SG. Now, as a big guitar nerd, I love that you play this ridiculously old, awesome SG. When did you get that thing?
The one I played for the most is a 1971 SG, and I got that in 19. That one I got in 1983 at We Buy Guitars in New York, in Manhattan. I don't know if that store is still in existence, but I remember that we were like halfway through the tour, and I spent all the money that pretty much I'd made was at the time was $400, and that's what I paid for it.
Damn, that seems like a pretty good price. I love it. You got like the squeeze vibrola on it. I mean, every picture I see of you playing guitar seems like you're playing that one.
Yeah, I also I have the lyre, the one with the lyre. That was a 71, and I had one previous to that. I can't remember the year, but I broke it in so many pieces on the headstock that I didn't know if it would be able to be fixed, so I just got rid of it. So this is my second, and then I have a 61 with the sideways weird bar.
Yeah, I love the sideways thing. Those are so.
Yeah.
I was seriously considering getting one because I built myself an SG thing, but I ended up just making it a stop tail piece. I never used the thing anyway. Do you ever use it?
Nope.
Looks cool.
Yeah, maybe in recording to get a little extra, on feedback.
I love it. I love it. So I had a question, and this is something I've talked to a couple other people about, with and the punk rock ethos. Where do you sit with like the singles versus the records? A lot more now too, seeing that like with Spotify and the music industry and with record labels and all of that. Like, are you a big fan of the big long records, or do you think bands should just release singles and put out small individual things? Like, what do you prefer? Because for instance, we're working on, Dirtycakes, we're working on something, and we've just kind of defaulted, especially in this, like, in COVID, just basically release a new single every month or two, because I don't know how much people care about the full-length album anymore.
Right. I mean, when I was a kid, that's what I would do. I would buy singles. It was like the big choice I had every week, because I remember there was a toy store that also sold records that was within walking distance of where I grew up, and they were both 55 cents. I remember that. So it was either like a Matchbox toy or a single. That was my big dilemma when I went to the toy store. But I don't know, I guess I prefer singles, but they were kind of a bummer to keep stacking up on those. Remember you get to stack them up. You wanted to play more than one song, one more. And I really have no opinion. I don't know what the kids like these days. I'm clueless.
I got you.
But I do like the concept that you can get something out immediately and you get instant feedback. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I love that. And, for what it's worth, like, if you're going to put something up and get feedback, I'd rather put up, like, one thing and make sure, like, because I grew up, I think, also with, like, I grew up in the era where the albums were all crap. It was like 2 or 3 good songs on the CD, and they made you buy 15 of them, so we didn't even want the whole record anymore, because they were just all garbage. Right. So it's like, well, why am I going to care about track 12 on a record when it was like most CDs at the time were like 1 or 2 songs that were any good to begin with?
Yeah, I do remember when CD format came out, they always wanted extra bonus tracks for the CD, which meant there was a lot of filler material. But I think, back when it was more expensive to produce records and everything, that I think you had to take more time in making sure if you were going to put out an album that the songs were strong.
Yeah, well, it costs a lot more to make a bunch of 12-inch records than it does a bunch of 7-inch records, right? Like, I mean, that's just more material.
Right, but recording. I mean, the cost for recording stuff was ridiculous back in my day, Sonny. I mean, bands like us, the punk bands, and we want to go into a decent studio. we'd go in after hours. You know, we do have because the studios were open 24 hours. And I let the young engineers, the assistants, the people that were just learning to bring in their bands like after midnight and do their thing.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point because I think of recording now where it's all pro tools. You punch it in, everybody's got a rig at their house, everybody's doing it. Like how
Yeah.
take you like for instance, we were looking at we're looking for that suit before. So like a record like Wonderful, how long did that take to put together? Because I mean, it must have been if you're doing it after hours, it could have taken forever if you have to keep going back and doing it.
Well, that one we actually had a budget
Yeah.
for. The first two albums we did not have a budget, and we do the after hours or didn't spend much time on it. So with Wonderful we had a little bit of a budget, so we went into a proper studio at proper hours.
That makes sense, I guess, because like.
But I don't know, maybe I don't know if it took more than 2 weeks or maybe it was 10 days. I don't know. It wasn't a lot.
Yeah, because to me it seems like if you get into the thing, I don't know what takes all the time. And I guess that's the other thing in my head too, because like I've always been from like somebody that had a studio around, was making really bad records, right? Like myself, it was always we went into the studio and like for instance the most recent Cakes record, we went into the studio and it did like days, hour days. We basically just went into Rancho, knocked the whole thing out and left. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna hook up my little. I'm kind of. Let me get this. I have a stand for my phone, and I'm gonna put my phone in it so I can sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation instead of worrying about my phone falling over, being propped up against the Fuzz War pedal by Death by Audio.
Solid pedal. That's a solid pedal.
Yeah, it's not working right now. I gotta get it fixed.
Oh man, those guys are so good. They'll fix anything. You don't use a lot of pedals though, right? Like I always think of you as a cable into amp kind of guy.
Yeah, I am. But I like messing around with it in the studio. It's so expensive to collect guitars anymore. I can't do that, so I gotta collect something. So it's pedals.
Got you. How many pedals are you up to right now?
I don't know. Should we get a tour?
We can.
Well, there is the Fuzz War right here. That's to remind me to send it back to them.
I'll send.
Then we got the OCD.
That's a classic.
We have the TS9 Tube Screamer.
First.
And I'm gonna hold on. I better take it off of Wi-Fi because I'm.
Heard it. I was like, the speaker go out.
I'm doing a broadcast with a friend.
Oh, great.
Say hi, Blake.
What up, man?
Hello, Blake.
Hetson sound. Here's a bunch of my pedals. Can you see them?
Oh yeah, I see. Let's see. I see a Dan Electro in there. I see. What is that? A Ditto. Is that a Cool Cat?
Yeah, I have a Cool Cat. I have the Fender Blender. And this thing's pretty crazy.
What is
Some
that thing?
Twig kids in Orange County made it. It's a fuzz pedal, so it's fuzzy.
That just makes sense. You've yeah. Why not? Put some
And then we got a red snapper. And this El Capistan, Strymon. What else? Here's some more. I don't know. A couple wah pedals. This is one of my favorite ones here. This is the Roland BG. This thing's pretty cool.
What? Is that like a?
Pardon? It's just a fuzz pedal. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of fuzzy. I'm gonna go back in the house because it's the reception's bad. But yep, here's the grand tour of the studio for all your recording needs, analog and digital.
Everything. Everything available.
Okay, back to work. Squishy, what do you think? All right, he's not impressed.
He's not impressed. Oh well.
All right, so yeah, I like having fun with pedals in the studio. I'm especially like you know, at times hooked up 4 or 5 pedals to see what happens, and it's usually pretty cool.
Oh, absolutely. You know, for that, my board at any point in time will have like 8, 10. I plug too many things in. You know, if I was a decent enough guitar player, probably I wouldn't need as many. But I think they're the greatest, most fun crutch you can have. Hey, look, we're joined by what looks like paw prints. Okay, Morrison has joined us.
Well, hi, Morrison. We had Squishy in the room hanging out, and now we got Morrison.
There we go.
So, yeah, I mean, I would try to use pedals back in the day, and with stage divers, shit would get yanked out, and my cords were always getting yanked out of my guitar, so they got big chunks out of them from stage divers and, taking out the cord and the jacks.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've seen... Yeah, I've seen like footage. Like I couldn't imagine what guitar pedals would look, how that would work. Like when I've seen like Decline of Western Civilization, right? When I'm looking at you guys on stage, I don't know how. Like I don't even know how. Like you. It seems like it would just be so ridiculous to have any impact, any expectation that people aren't going to be stomping over everything.
Any what? I'm sorry. Say that again.
It's like. There's no way possible that people wouldn't be tripping over all those pedals and everything. Was anybody using anything back then?
Yeah, they were. They were using distortion pedals, and some people would have a wah or, a phase or chorus, but they would get unplugged a lot. I mean, and then, there weren't a lot of you couldn't really get a pedal board. You had to make your own or have someone make it custom for you. So people would just duct tape their pedals down and hope to God that they didn't get messed up, A, or B, that it didn't get so hot and sweaty in the clubs that they just, came off the stage.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because of the humidity and heat.
What's that?
Because of the heat. I mean, the humidity, the heat.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about shows and stuff. It was funny. I've been asking people a lot of things about like what their shows are because there's always like that point where you like go to a show and you're like, okay, I can do this. For instance, like I think my first show was 9 Inch Nails in a Perfect Circle, right? And it was an outdoor big thing, big huge festival, and it was like big over the top, larger than life thing. But a couple months later, I saw Kitty open for the Fear Factory at the 930 Club in DC. And
I think someone wanted to look at the poster. Was it this one? Someone said they asked me if that's Dee Dee. This is the Rolling Stones doing. Where they were recording. What was the last one Brian Jones was on? The last album he was on. Anyway, but and then the photo was actually taken by Eddie Kramer, who was the engineer on the record.
Nice.
All right. So you went to some big rock shows when you went to a club?
Yeah, and then I went to the club, and it was like, Fear Factory and Kitty and some other bands, and it was like, oh, okay, wait a minute. So this is somewhat reasonable, right? Like, this is not ridiculously over the top. And, like, when you're growing up and coming into things, you've got bands with, like, makeup and long hair, guys going to, like, you have Kiss and all of that kind of stuff. Like,
and
at what point was...
laser stuff, and that was intimidating. It's like I'm learning to play guitar, and it's like I'll never be like this. I don't, I can't play like Eddie Van Halen. I can't, play like Jimmy Page or whatever. Even then, I realized Jimmy Page was actually not little sloppy, which I could back. I can back that, being a sloppy guitar player myself. But it was intimidating. So then I went to found out about punk rock, and ended up at a club show, and the first show, I got to plug my phone in a second, so I'm going to move over here. Everybody's got the grand tour of my sprawling estate.
I'll tell you, you are the most mobile person we've had on the show so far. So, I love it.
All right, now I got to find my phone charger. I think it's in my bedroom, where I could not find the damn thing. I'm OCD, and where is that damn tuxedo? It's here somewhere. All right. So, so I found out about punk rock and saw that the Dickies were playing I went to the whiskey. It was a Dickies of Middle Class, and the Middle Class were a band from Orange County that they were all like, teenagers. When I saw them on stage and play, I go, oh my God, I can do this too? It was like, the hallelujah moment that I was not intimidated, and if I wanted to play music, it was feasible because people like me were doing it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love that, and I think that's one of the such a great yeah, because they must have been. I mean, I'm like thinking of those bands, like they have been any older than you at the time, right?
No, they weren't much older. That was,
Yeah. How much older were the Dickies than you? I feel like, I mean, in my head, you all basically went to high school together, so I have no idea.
They were probably, hold on, I'm getting bad reception again. They were probably maybe 4 years older than me, maybe 5.
Gotcha. And now you're playing with Steve, then.
Pardon?
And now, like all these years later, you're playing with Steve too with punk rock karaoke.
With Stan Lee, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Stan, Mr. Stan Lee, not that Stan Lee, that Stan Lee.
So yeah, I mean, they were the first band, and then it's just funny I get to be in a band with him. That's kind of crazy how that works sometimes.
That's awesome. I was talking with somebody else. Was it? Oh, it was funny when I was talking with Dave Catching, and he was talking about how he grew up listening to these bands, and he had the moment where he got to play with them and be on some records. And I was talking with Jeff Nolan, and he said how he's now the official theremin player for Blue Oyster Cult because he was featured on their most recent record. I think it's awesome that at some point everybody's getting to play with all of these folks who are so inspiring for them.